Okay, so last day we discussed a bit about one type of operation which can be parallelized using a cluster of, we have done the map operation, and today we will be trying to cover the second type of operation which parallelizes computation by distributing it in a cluster. This is known as the reduce operation. As you remember, we have got the Spark shell open with us, but before that, I will be doing some scribbling on a text file to explain to you the mathematical concept of a reduce, which is very important. So let's say, as previously, we have a student database, right? So we have something like this. Let's say we have Ram is a student and there are 3 records for Ram and there are 4 records for Oshim and there are 2 records for Sumit. Okay, so this is a small model. In a big data environment, this will be simply 1 million names, each with thousands of occurrences. Now, remember that this is distributed amongst different nodes of the cluster. So let's say Ram has the value. Ram has the value 12 in one and 34 in another and 89 in another. Similarly for the other ones, each one of them has got a value. Let's say you can think of this as the marks obtained in different subjects by the person concerned. How is it actually stored in the cluster? As we discussed, it's distributed in the cluster and the cluster does not ensure that all Ram's records are in the same node. So let's say we have it like this, Ram and Ram 12 is there and Oshim 34 is there and Sumit 78 is there in one node. And let's say in another node we have Ram 34, Ram 89 and Sumit, the second one, that is 87. Okay. Similarly, like that in the other nodes, you have got in one node you've got another node you've got Oshim. You've got, let's say, 98 and Oshim. Again, you've got 87. And another node you've got something like this. So this is our mock-up of the way the data is distributed amongst the nodes. So this is node 1, let's say. This is node 2. And it goes on. Okay. What is the problem we have? We had done map operations by doing operations which do not depend on any row other than the row on which the operation is being carried out. So the single requirement for a map operation is that it's a transformation of a single row in such a way that it is not dependent on the data in any other row. Now we come to the second class of operations. We come to aggregations. Like for example, let's say we want the totals of Ram, Oshim and Sumit. Since we want the totals, we are doing a sum. So the result depends on multiple rows in multiple computers. Since it depends on multiple rows, can we do the processing distributed into node 1, node 2, node 3, and node 4? That is the question which Reduce attempts to solve. So, the Reduce algorithm is a generic algorithm. The concept of Reduce is a simple mathematical operation comprising of two steps. The first step is known as the shift operation. This is very, very important. So what does shift do? This, please note this very well, transfers all key value pairs corresponding to each key to a single node. This is very important. What does shift do? Let's take an example. RAM is distributed over two nodes, as we can see. The marks of RAM, the rows corresponding to RAM, are distributed over two nodes. So what will shift do? The driver node of the Spark job or the Hadoop job, Hadoop can also do a reduce, first transfers all RAM rows to, let us say, it chooses, the driver chooses one of the nodes as the repository of RAM rows. So let's say all RAM rows to, let's say, node 3. This decision of which node is taken by the driver. Then what it does is all Oshim nodes to node 1. Okay, and all Sumit nodes again to node 3. This is allowed. You can have two or more keys, all values in the same node, but all the values of one key must be in one single node. That's it. This could also be node 2. This could also be node 1. But what we are interested in is what's rows. And so we have rows. This is known as the shift operation. Okay. Once this shift is done, we have all RAM rows in node 3, all Oshim rows in node 1, and all Sumit rows in node 3 again, let's say. Okay. Now the operation is very simple. Second part is the actual reduce. The reduce, then what does it do?
Okay.
It forms the table like this, A, comma, aggregate of the values. So it runs an operation, aggregation. Here we have taken sum. We will do the entire thing by sum first to explain to you how this aggregation is done. But remember, this aggregation can be any one of min, max, any algebraic operation which is an aggregation which returns a single unique value given any set of items. So how is this aggregation performed? There again, reduce has a rule. So the rule of reduce is one, choose any two rows of K1 key. Okay. So RAM has got 3 rows, you choose any 2 rows. Remember, all RAM rows are in node 3. So when node 3 runs the reduce, It first chooses a key, Ram. It chooses any two rows of K1 key. Okay? Call them A and B. Call the values A and B. And you reduce them by a formula which you have to specify to Spark. And you say it's A plus B. So this is performed continuously, iteratively, for all pairs of values in the rows of K1 key. So A comma B results in A plus B. So let's say we had A, B, C. Then what happens? Let's say it chooses A and B, so it becomes A plus B is 1 and C. Then again, these two are a pair, so it becomes A plus B plus C. Okay? This is the process in which reduce operates to find the aggregate of the values corresponding to a single key. You might be thinking, why are we wasting so much time on discussing how it does it? This is very important for one reason. In Spark, you are not advised, it is not allowed to give a function in reduce. Here we have given the function A plus B. You are not advised or allowed to give a function in reduce description which will result in, remember this, result depends on order of execution. Please remember this. So basically, this should not happen. Remember, a summation does not depend on whether you originally chose A plus B and then C. The result would be the same. For example, if you chose A plus C as A and C first, and then B is left over, and then you again get A plus B plus C. So whatever order you take them, the summation operation follows this constraint. However, just consider that A, B, and C are strings, and the plus is a concatenation operator. Then obviously, A plus C plus B and A plus B plus C, these two concatenations result in absolutely different string results. So it is allowed in Spark to do it on a string set of values, but it is never used in MapReduce. Okay, so result should not, let's revise this, should not depend on order of execution. So you can only, as a function to the reduce operation, you can only give those operations which are independent of the order of selection of the pairs. How you do the aggregation is does not affect the end result. Whatever order you do it, the result is the same. So we have done a simple example using sum. Let's go to the Spark shell and see some code. Here we have it. We'll start again. Let's say we have val a equal to sc.text file stud.txt. If you remember, we had the file stud.txt, and let's do A and check it out. It's an RDD of strings. The entire rows for each of the rows of the CSV file is a single string, and it's a resilient distributed data set of strings, single strings in each row of the RDD. Now, as usual, what do? We split it up into a dot map. How do we map it? We do a S dot split comma, okay, and then we give a 0 comma. We take the individual elements of the string rows and make a row out, a tuple out of that. So look here, we've got RTD of tuple of string, string, string. Let's print it. Like previously, to check out that we are indeed having the correct thing. Here we have it. So we've got one tuple in each row. Each tuple consists of 3 elements. First one is the name, second one is the subject, third one is the marks. Now let us come to reduce. Before the reduce, let's remove the subject because we want everyone's total marks obtained from this. So let's remove the subject. Let's do a simple map. So we have val c equal to b dot map. Now we just need to remove the second element of the tuple. So we do s arrow and we have s dot underscore 1. So the first column is there. Remember, a tuple starts numbering from 1, and we have s dot underscore 3. So we've chosen the first and third rows of the tuple, the first and third columns. Okay, we have it again. It's string, string. Let's see what we have. So let's repeat that again. We have made a mistake. S dot underscore 3. We don't want a string in the number field. So we make it dot to int. Got it? So we've got string int. Let's do a for each println. We did a for each println, and we've got the name and the marks. Now we need a sum. Remember, we are doing very small data, but we are simulating big data out here. Let's assume that we have millions of such rows and they are distributed over, let's say, 5,000 nodes. Okay, so let's see that. We want the summation for Ratna, for Suman, and for Somo. Okay, that calls for a reduce. So let's do val d, we are doing a reduce, equal to c dot reduce by key. This is the syntax for a reduce. And here, as we discussed, we have done, what does reduce expect? It expects any pair of values for one of the iterations. And what do we give as the replacement for that? We give a plus b. Okay, done. We've got string int. Let's print it. And we get the results. Can you see? The total is there. What did this a comma b, arrow a plus b do? It simply said to Spark, please take the first column as key. This is implicit or implied in Spark. When you do a reduce by key on a particular RDD, here C is the RDD on which you are doing the reduce. The first column by default is taken as the key column. If you want to change the key column, you have to bring it to the beginning. Then there has to be only one other column in the rows. That has to be the value. Your A comma B will be two values which need to be combined or aggregated. And after the arrow, you give the rule, the syntactical rule for aggregating any two values of a key. So here we have stated that pairwise we do a summation and we give the aggregate for each key based on that. Let's try a maximum marks in each subject. That is also an aggregation. So for that, we have to go back to B. Let's do this. There we have it. String int, what have we taken? We have taken the subject and the marks. Let's print it. You got math 67, math 45, math 56, physics 34, physics 15, physics 67. We just want the maximum marks in each subject. So that's another aggregation. We have one key is math, the other key is 5. We want an aggregate, that aggregate is max. How do we do it? We have to write our own reduce by key to find the max.
Siddha. I'm doing.
Yes. So here we had C, we had C as the RDD. So we do a val D. Just one moment. We want to do a reduce by key on the C data set, which is the subject and the marks. So we do a C dot reduce by key. And what do we do for the function? We have again A comma B for two values. We give a simple Scala if else. What do you want? When you combine A and B, what do you want? You want to take the max. It's very simple. If A greater than B, in Scala you don't need to write return. You write A. So if A is greater than B, the value that the function returns is A. Else, simply write B. Okay? Let's run it. Got it? Got D. Let's do it. You've got physics 67, math 67. We got the maximum. So this is one way of doing a max. Just check out from the data set, 67 is indeed the maximum values for both physics and maths. A very simple alteration could have made it a minimum. It's just if A less than B. Okay, we do it and we get the minimum. We get the minimum of both the keys for both the subjects. So we've done sum, we've done max, we've done min, and there are thousands and thousands of other types of aggregations, some of them quite complex and very customized for every different analytical problem involving data sets where you are applying Spark or Hadoop. So you just need to get accustomed to the logic with which you specify the reduce operation to Spark. Okay, so that's it. Now let us do an operation on a slightly more complex data set which has got more than 2 values in the key field. So let's say we have the requirement that we not only want the maximum marks, but we also want the student who got the maximum marks. So this is something of a brain teaser, because if you keep the student and you keep the subject and you keep the marks, then it's not a 2-column tuple or RDD. So you cannot do a reduce by key, because reduce by key basically syntactically expects a 2-column tuple. So what do we do in Scala or Spark? We apply a trick to fool Scala into thinking that it's a 2-column tuple. We create an inner tuple of multiple columns as 1 column of the outer tuple. Let's do it. So we had B. Let's go and see what was B. We had B. So let's make it val new 1 equal to b dot map, and what do we do? Now we do a funny thing. We have got 3 columns in B, if you remember. What we do is we make an inner tuple where wait, let's first do s dot underscore 2. So the subject becomes the key, is the first column. So it's the key for a reduce. And the second column becomes a tuple itself. So s dot underscore 1 comma s dot underscore 3. So that's the name and the marks, the name of the student and the marks. Let's see what that gives. It gives me an RDD, which is a tuple, which every row is a tuple containing a string and a tuple of string. So it's a 2-element RDD, and this allows me to do a reduce by key. Now we have a slightly more complex reduce by key to write. How do we do a reduce by key? So basically, remember another requirement of reduce by key. Reduce by key, the function that you give must return the same type of value as the operand. So a comma b gives you do a function on a and b. So the value of the function should be of the same type as a or b, and a and b must be of the same type. So here what do we have as the value? A tuple of string. So your operation must also return a tuple of string. Okay, so let's try it now. Val result 1 equal to new 1 dot reduce by key. And what do we do out here? We do something funny. This a comma b now represents the inner tuple which is in the second column, and what do we replace it by? Now if we want the maximum, and the student who got the maximum. So we want both the s dot underscore 1 and the s dot underscore 3 to be present for the maximum row. So what do? Here we have if. What do we do an if with? A is a tuple. A is the value, and that is an inner tuple comprising of s dot underscore 1 comma s dot underscore 3. So if A dot underscore 2, because that's the second element of the tuple. So this, can you see, this is the second element of the tuple. So if A dot underscore 2 is greater than B dot underscore 2, okay, what do we return? We will have to return the tuple whose marks is larger. So we return again, we return A. That's a tuple. Else we return B. Done? String, string, string. So the result is of the same type as the operands. Now let's do a println. Can you see it? The person with the highest marks along with the highest marks that he or she has obtained. Please go through this problem. I'm giving you 1 minute's time. And if you have any queries, please raise a hand. Some question? Can you provide name of a good? Yes, I'll give you the name of a text, not a textbook. I'll give you the name of a very good tutorial site. I'm explaining again. Basically, what is this A? This A is the first inner tuple. So what is A dot underscore 2? That is these marks in the first inner tuple. This is the marks. So if the marks in the first inner tuple is greater than the marks in the second inner tuple, then you choose the first inner tuple. Else you choose the second inner tuple. This is the basic logic that we have used. Okay? Now, suppose we want we'll just show you another operation on the result to just proclaim the name of the first person in every subject. So here we have result 1. That was it. So it was the string and was it result 1? Or was it string? No, we made a mistake. We should have converted s dot underscore 3 to integer. So let's read. By the way, we didn't get a wrong result, but that does not change the fact that we've made a mistake. Let's redo it. It should be value1 equal to b dot map, and here we should give dot to int. How did I note this error? Because I saw that the result was string. Okay, now we just repeat the remaining pieces of code and we get the same thing, but the result will be, type will be different. So we have new one, we've got result one, new one, reduced by key. The greater than has got a different meaning now, because previously a dot underscore 2 was a string. It was doing a lexicographic comparison. Now we are doing a numerical comparison. We've got it. Now we do a for each println and we get it. That's it. Okay. Now let's do one thing. Let's open out the inner tuple and print the name of the subject and the gold medalist in the subject. Okay. So let's do it here. Well, res2 equal to result1. This is a simple map, dot map, and we do, what do we do? I'm doing this basically to show you how we break an inner tuple outside. S dot arrow. We want the first element, so we give the subject, that is s dot underscore 1. We want the first element to be the second element of this result. So we make s dot underscore 2 dot underscore 1. Okay, that gives me the name and we get it. That's it. Let's do it again. That's it. Or we could have done it for the subject and the marks from this one. So we do you have string int, you've got the subject and the marks. So again we come back to map. So basically today's discussion was an attempt at explaining to you what is the meaning of a reduce, what are the two steps of a reduce. The first is the shift. Sorry, I made a mistake. That is not called shift. It's called shuffle. My mistake. It's not called shift. Let's go here. Once more, let's share the screen. Here, I just made a mistake there. It's not called shift, it's called shuffle. So shuffle is basically the operation which is performed to bring all values of a single key to a single node to allow aggregation. Okay. Then after that we have the actual reduce. The rule of the reduce is choose any two rows of K1 key. AB goes to A plus B. So this is how you do the reduce. And we should remember that the result should not depend on order of execution. And we should also remember that result data type should be same as operand, that is the value field data type. These are the two logical restrictions or mathematical restrictions on a reduce operation. These are the two things that we need to remember. Are there any questions, please? Could you please raise your hands if you have any questions? Yes, correct, you're correct. So that's why we changed it to integer. I didn't see your hand raising. I made a mistake there. So I have done a change in that. As you saw, I converted it to integer and then I did it and we got the entire thing. Okay. Someone has raised a hand. Any question? Can you enable the speaker who has raised a hand, the student who has raised a hand to ask the question? Hello? Okay, then I think that's about it. Let's Abhishek, I think that's all I have to deliver for today. In the next 1 second, someone else has raised a question. When A, comma, B, comma, C is done, only C is compared, and according to value of C, A and B value are displayed as, no, not A and B value. The A and B, comma, C value for the relevant tuple is displayed because that's what you did in your reduce operation. So here, what did you do? Here, what you did was, in your reduce operation, let's go up and explain to you. What have you done? If A dot underscore 2 is greater than B dot underscore 2, so you are taking C. Then A, what do you mean by A? A is B comma C in your notation. Else B, B is the other B comma C. So you're choosing a tuple as the result of the reduce operation. Is that clear? If not, please raise your hand and ask a question again. Well, I think it's clear to all of you. We haven't used string for comparison. Look at it here. This is string int. Can you see it's int? We changed that. When did we do? We changed it because we made it to int. Once we made it to int, the RDD has string and int in the inner tuple. And you are comparing the second element of the tuple, and that's a integer comparison. If you want a string comparison, it's always a lexicographic comparison, which comes earlier in the dictionary. Okay? And this here we have done a numerical comparison, and the second element of the inner tuple is being compared, and you are returning the entire inner tuple based on which is the maximum, which is the larger of the two. People, did that answer your question, or do you still have any doubts? Yes, only second element of the tuple is compared because we only want to compare the marks. We want the tuple, inner tuple, which has got the maximum marks. So what will you compare? Will you compare the name also? You don't want to compare the name. You want to compare only the marks of a value. So the value comprises of two components. You are comparing one component and you are returning the entire two components of the result. That's it. Okay, Abhishek, I think we can stop it here. In the next class, we will be moving over to Hadoop, and we will be doing some hands-on Hadoop tomorrow in 2 sessions. So 1 hour Hadoop shell commands and then 1 hour Hadoop Java programs. We'll try shell commands the entire day tomorrow, and the next day, Monday and Tuesday, which I will be also taking, we will be doing the Java programs of Hadoop. Yes, there is no textbook which covers all this logic. You have to understand this logic on your own, provided you understand the basic rules of MapReduce. There is a very good original paper on MapReduce. I forget the name of the author. It was by someone, I think, called Lewis. I'll share that paper with you that explains the MapReduce mathematical operation very well. We will also discuss that in our next class, because Hadoop follows that set operation exactly. Number one. Number two, there is one very good book for understanding how these programming tricks occur in Spark and Hadoop. So that is known as Design Patterns, MapReduce Design Patterns. It's an O'Reilly book, or as far as I remember, it's an O'Reilly book, and it is available on the internet as a PDF download. So I can, yes, please, please write your question. Abhishek, can you enable the people who have raised hands to speak? Or why don't you communicate over the question and answer board? Those of you who have raised your hand, why don't you type in your question in the question and answer board? Okay, I think we can end the session right here. Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow at the Hadoop session. Yes, I have just enabled someone who had raised her hand to ask a question. I have enabled her microphone. Her name is Anushri Mondal. Anushri, can you unmute yourself and speak out? What is your problem? Hello? No response. Okay. Okay, then I'm ending the session.